Hello everybody, my name is Robert and this is a review clue. And welcome back to day 5 of Me Week. If you missed the first 4 days, including unboxings and a camera comparison of all of these phones, then you can check that out up in the cards or in the description down below. But today we're going to be looking at the gaming performance of these 4 phones, particularly in Call of Duty Mobile and Pubg Mobile. We're going to start off these tests with loading the games on each of these phones at the same time to see who can load it the quickest. We're starting off with Call of Duty Mobile here, and as we can see on the very left hand side we have the Pocco X3. Next to that is the Mi 10T Lite. Next to that is the Redmi Note 8T, and on the very right is the Redmi 9. The Redmi 9 is the cheapest device of these 4, whereas the Note 8T is actually the oldest. So as we go through the loading, we can actually see that the Mi 10T Lite takes the lead, and it continues that lead into the loading, so it's the first one to ask for my login here. But then it surprises me that the Redmi 9, the cheapest device, actually loads this quicker than the Pocco X3, the more expensive one, and the Note 8T as well. So the Note 8T did come in last, as we are going to note here in a second. But I did suspect that because of its slightly older CPU and GPU performance. But the winner here is the Xiaomi Mi 10T Lite. So now we're going back to load up Pubg on all of these phones as well, and this is where the surprises kept coming for me. So this is quite a taxing game, but it loads quickly on all of the phones. But the one that loads it the quickest is the Pocco X3, as we can see here. Very closely followed by the Mi 10T Lite, and I expected that because their chipsets are very similar. We then have this one here, which is the Note 8T, coming in 3rd place just behind. But then, most worryingly of all, the Redmi 9 took much longer. In fact, it was almost a minute longer to actually load this thing, and that really surprised me that it was even slower than Note 8T here. Once we do eventually get all of them loaded, which we will do in a second, we're going to go ahead and start playing the games on each of these phones. I'll note the settings as well, and you can see the gameplay. So here we are with the Pocco X3. I ran all of these games at the highest that they would go, so in this case this was HD high for the Pubg Mobile here on the X3, and it really did feel smooth. Apparently there are higher graphical versions coming for this phone in particular with HDR and such, but it felt super duper smooth here. It didn't skip a beat, it never felt like it dropped a frame in my mind, and it was a really pleasant gaming experience. So let's watch this and you can be the judge of it as well, but from my perspective it felt like one of the best experiences I've had with playing Pubg Mobile, closely followed by our next phone as well. So here in Call of Duty Mobile, we're running very high max frame rates with ragdoll, depth of field and real-time shadows as well. And we really did run at 120 Hz, which is what this screen can refresh at. And it felt buttery smooth. I've never had an experience like this on a phone other than with the 10T Lite, which we'll discuss in a little bit. Both of these phones, in particular with their 120Hz screen, really did change this game for me. It made it feel so much nicer and so much better than I've ever played this game. So let's watch some of this gameplay and we'll move on to the next phone, which is going to be the 10T Lite. So here we are with the 10T Lite running at HD high. As noted before, this gameplay was very similar to that of the Pocco X3, mainly because they share the same chipset, or a very similar chipset. So the game again felt buttery smooth and a really nice version of the game. It never felt like it dropped frames, it never felt like it was slow or unresponsive. I always felt like I was playing at my best here. So let's watch this gameplay and move on to Call of Duty Mobile. So here we are with Call of Duty Mobile, which is running at very high graphics quality, but strangely enough I couldn't put max frame rate on this one, so I'm going to guess that it isn't running at that full 120Hz. We do have depth of field, bloom, real-time shadows, ragdolling and water reflections on though. And though we didn't have that super high refresh rate, the game still felt very playable and was still a really nice experience. It never lagged, it never dropped frames, much like the Pocco X3 didn't as well. So if you're looking to game on a phone, then I think both of these are excellent choices. Maybe the Pocco X3 is the better choice if you're really about those frame rates, but both are very good phones and very good for both Call of Duty Mobile and Pubg Mobile. But we'll watch this gameplay and move on to our next phone. So here we are with the Redmi Note 8T, which is running this game in balanced and medium frame rate. This is running at the lowest setting of all of these four phones. I simply couldn't put it any higher, it wouldn't let me. And even at this level, you could see that it was struggling. I would continually drop frames throughout this gameplay. You can see it at points where we do just drop a frame or two, and that really hindered me in my overall experience of the game. So I think here some optimizations are definitely needed for Pubg Mobile if you want to play it seriously on the Redmi Note 8T. But let's check out that gameplay and hopefully you'll see what I mean, that it just wasn't the same buttery smooth experience that I came to see on the Pocco X3 and the Mi 10T Lite. So here we are in Call of Duty Mobile running at very high with depth of field, bloom, real-time shadows, ragdolling and water reflections on. The experience was fine here. Again, very similarly to PUBG Mobile, we did see quite a couple of frame drops, quite a few of them in fact. And again, it hindered the experience overall. So this certainly to me had the worst experience so far for gaming on mobile, just because of those very frequent frame drops. So let's check out the rest of this gameplay and you can see for yourself that these frame drops are here and present. And finally we have the Redmi 9 here, which is running at HD high for PUBG Mobile. This is running at a higher frame rate and a higher graphical fidelity than the Note 8T, but for a cheaper price. And I think that's pretty incredible. I again, very much like the first two phones, didn't see as many frame drops. It certainly wasn't as smooth and the frame rate wasn't as high in general, but I didn't see those stutters and frame drops that I did with the Note 8T. So let's check out some of this gameplay and you can watch through and see what you think. Personally, I think the Redmi 9 here is a really good budget option for gaming, in particular because we were able to run this at the same high quality that we could on the higher end phones, and we still got a very respectable frame rate out of it. Call of Duty Mobile here on the Redmi 9 really did let itself down. This is running at medium quality with a high frame rate. We were only able to turn on depth of field and real-time shading, so no bloom, no ragdolls, no water reflections, no anti-aliasing. And it certainly did look the worst of all of these games. This is odd to me, considering that we could run Pubg at a very high frame rate. There's something going on here, whether it be a setting or something, but this game simply did not look very good at all compared to the other three phones. Ran perfectly fine at this frame rate, but it just wasn't the best experience it could have been because it just didn't look that great. Ran completely fine though, so let's watch this gameplay and then I'll come back to you at the very end for my outro and you can make your decision as to which phone you prefer the most here. So there we have it guys, 4 Xiaomi phones, why each one more incredible than the last, and I'm really impressed by all of these in terms of their graphical performance for these games. These games are very taxing and each phone handled it pretty well. In my experience, I think the Pocco X3 and the Mi 10T Lite are your best choices here for gaming. If you're on a slight budget, then maybe something like the Redmi 9 if you enjoy Pubg more than Call of Duty. But if you enjoy Call of Duty, then maybe something like the Note 8T with its slightly higher graphical fidelity would suit you better. Anyway guys, my name's been Robert. If you've enjoyed this video, go down there, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification icon, and I will catch you in the next one. Adios.